Welcome back to the School of HardKnox podcast. On this week's show, a lot of people think they got good ideas. Most of them don't. I'm gonna be honest with you, most of them don't. They got inspiration, they got excitement, they may have some friends that make them feel like a visionary, and that's okay. But if you don't deal with these 5 things, I guarantee your idea is going to fall flat. It is time to get on the bus because class is in session. This is episode 154 of the School of HardKnox podcast, and it starts now. Thank you for listening to the School of HardKnox podcast. This show is about personal development for business success. Not only do we tell the stories of successful people in order to create more successful people, we want to help you turn your thoughts and ideas into reasonable, rational, and profitable action. This show is about my life experiences, your life experiences, and how we can work together to become the best versions of ourselves. Prepare to be inspired, motivated, and most importantly, challenged. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the School of HardKnox podcast. Your host, Mark W. Knox, coming to you on another Monday. This wonderful Monday in March 2026. Man, been a busy week. You can probably hear it in my voice. I pushed myself a little too hard this week trying to set up Pixel Audio Video headquarters. We made some great progress this week. Still got a lot to do, but it's just coming along. And, while I was in that process of recovering, not the process of actually doing the work, but the process of recovering, man, I thought to myself, it's spring is about to come, right? Spring is about to come. I think the weather is finally breaking. It's still cold at night, but we're getting some warm days here. We're getting some consecutive warm days. You got some rain. Spring is coming. And I start thinking to myself, man, like spring is like, obviously it's a new season, especially coming out of winter, but it's a new season in the sense of, I feel like spring is like idea season. I feel like spring is when people start to thaw out and come out of hibernation and they're like, all right, it's time, right? I got this idea that I've been marinating on all winter, or I got this idea that I've been thinking about, during those gray days and those cold months. And I think I'm ready to exercise that idea. So I wanted to give you something as we approach spring, as we approach that new season, basically 5 things to do or to not do, depending on how you look at it, when you think you have an idea, right? So 5 things to do when you think you have an idea. We'll get into that in just a moment. First and foremost, man, I really appreciate you guys showing me the love on YouTube. The YouTube shorts jumping off, doing well. We're going to keep it going. Right. The shorts give me an opportunity to post sound bites, I guess a little bit longer than sound bites, more like hooks and clips, to ultimately draw people back to the YouTube page. So I appreciate that. If you're not subscribed to the School of HardKnox podcast on YouTube, please jump over there and subscribe using as many different YouTube accounts as you have. All right. So subscribe on all of your YouTube accounts. It's all, kid friendly content. Right. So if my face pops up while your kid is watching YouTube and they accidentally click on a familiar face, you have nothing to worry about. At the very least, they're going to get some game. Right. So we're trying to build a YouTube following. Right. While also trying to balance what we do with the audio only, because the audio only that we release through Buzzsprout, which then goes to Spotify and Apple and all the other podcast platforms, we get great metrics on those. We get great numbers and analysis on those, right? I can break it down to the country, down to the device that they're listening on, down to, how long they listen. So we're trying to get those same type of metrics for YouTube so that we can see which direction we want to continue to go in, which area we want to put more resources in. I think you understand what I'm talking about. So this week's topic, jumping right in, and listen, we dealt with the stuff that's going on in the world. We dealt with that. I know this week was a heavy week, especially after last weekend with the Iran situation, Iran, with the Iran situation. I know it was a heavy week. I know there's a lot of things going on. Remember what I said before, though. Pay attention, and you won't be surprised. So we're not going to spend any measurable time talking through those things, talking about those things. You need to understand that your trust should be in God, number one, and that your faith should be in God, number two, and number one, and that he got you. Okay. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. He got you. As my pastor put it today, the best place to be in during times like this is in his will. And that's what we're going to focus on. So 5 things to do when you think you have a business idea. So let's talk about this real quick, though, because I know some individuals, including myself, that can literally just sit back and think of business ideas. Like a part of our behavioral traits being a high I in my particular situation, being a high influencer, being a people person, being an extrovert, is that idea generation is not difficult for me at all. Like if I really put my mind to it, I can think of what I would like to believe would be some profitable business ideas, right? And product ideas and inventions and I wonder if anybody's ever thought to do X, Y, and Z with A, B, and C, right? And I know some of you are the exact same way. Some of you have reached out to me recently and over the past years and say, hey, I got an idea that I want to just kind of float by you. I want to talk about it real quick. I want to get your take on it. And that's a big step. That is a huge step, right? To let somebody in on what's going on in your head and to be vulnerable to the point where you want to share the idea or the invention or the product that you think you might have something, right? So I applaud that. I absolutely applaud that. But I also want to warn you, right? I want to warn you, if you are a person like me who can sit back and think of things, we have to understand something very clearly. We have to understand that we can't execute on everything all at once, right? Just because we feel like we have a good idea on Monday does not mean it needs to be executed upon on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we have another good idea on Thursday does not mean it needs to be executed upon on Friday and Saturday. Some things need to be marinated. Some things need to be seasoned, covered, and put in the fridge. Right? Some things need to just sit and kind of work out the kinks, right? I really need you to understand that I'm not knocking you for having ideas. I'm not knocking you for having a multitude of ideas. What I'm saying is the more ideas you have, unfortunately, the less focused it's easier to become because now we're thinking in too many directions at once. Now, the difference between an idea and a product or an idea and a business is the execution part. And when we sit back and we start thinking about too many things all at once and start thinking about step 2 and step 5 and step 10, when we should have stayed in step 1 or even step 0, which is that marination period, it gets us to a place where we lose focus, right? And my job here at the School of HardKnox is to help you gain focus and maintain focus on that 1, maybe 2 things that you feel like you can really move forward with to not only change your life, but to set your legacy up and to set your generations up, right? So the first thing that I want to get into, the first thing that I want to talk about, again, with the 5 steps of what to do when you think you have a business idea. First one is simple. The first one, step number 1, when you think you have a business idea, step number 1 is to shut up. I know that was not very nice. That was kind of harsh, but it's reality. Is to shut up. When you think you found something, close your mouth. If you prematurely look for validation on an idea, it will create false progress. I'm going to say that one more time. If you prematurely look for validation on an idea, it will create false progress. The contrary is also true. If you're looking for premature validation and you don't get it, it could create false disappointment or false defeat. Just because one, maybe even two people said that doesn't sound like a viable idea, doesn't sound like a good business, doesn't sound like something I would buy, does not mean that you don't have a good idea. It just means the person that you chose to spill the beans to is not interested, right? So again, the first thing you want to do is close your mouth. People will clap. People will encourage you. They'll say it sounds great, right? But you will most likely confuse the excitement of individuals with execution, because that's not what it is. Encouragement, excitement, inspiration is not actually execution. Those early ideas, they need something. They need something called protection. They don't need applause. They need protection. They need to be put and hid away so that you can really work those things out, so that you can really go through the next few steps that we're going to talk about. You need to move quietly while you evaluate. And when I say move quietly, I mean move silently, right? The bigger the idea, the quieter you are about it. The bigger the idea, the less you talk about it openly. The bigger the idea, the more selective you are when it comes to who you spill those beans to, right? So I want you to be aware, first and foremost, when you think you have a business idea, when you think you have a product idea, the first thing that you want to do is shut up. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing to nobody. All right, let's move on. Number two. This is the step that most of us, I think, we get weird about, right? Not to mention, in step number one, another reason why you want to be quiet is because you got a lot of things that are listening, even in your house. You got your phones, your computers, your watches, your Alexas, y'all, everything's listening. Whether you know it or give consent or not, you got stuff that's listening to you in your house. That's the reason why when you start talking to something, you start talking about something to your spouse, right? You may be talking about getting a new lawnmower. You may be talking about getting a new bubble coat. You may be talking about going to a basketball game, something random. Next thing you know, your feed or your Amazon page is now suggesting that you watch these things or look at these products that are all related to what you've been talking to. We've all been down that road. That's another reason why you want to shut up. Let me also add to the shut up part, because this is going to roll us into number two. Actually, let me give you number two. I'm getting ahead of myself. Number two is the research part. Okay? The research part. We want to see if somebody else has already done or thought of what you thought of. Now, we're not doing this to determine whether or not we move forward with the idea, because competition in the marketplace is actually one of the best indicators that your idea is viable. For example, when you walk down the aisle that has the bread in the store, there's dozens of different types of bread. Dozens of different types of bread. Just because there's dozens of different types of bread doesn't mean that you can't create a new type of bread. That just means that there's a demand for different types of bread. So you want to make sure of one or two things. You want to make sure somebody is already doing what you're doing, because that's how you know there's a market for it, like chicken sandwiches. Right? You drive down the block, everybody got a chicken sandwich because there's a market for it. So if you come out with a chicken sandwich, probably not going to be a big not going to be a big deal if you got a chicken sandwich option too. That was super random. But you also want to make sure that if you have an original idea, if you have an original product, if you have an original thought, you want to make sure that somebody isn't already doing exactly that thing. And if they are, then you have to make sure that you're not going to have some copyright infringements, some trademark infringements, you just want to make sure that you're not taking credit for something that you thought was an original thought that turned out not to be an original thought. Okay. This is what I mean when I'm going to relate this to number one. Seriously, when you get to a point of doing your research and searching the webs and you're searching Google and you're doing all this stuff to find out if this product exists, the last thing you want to do is put your idea into Chat GPT. Don't do it. Okay, I know that's probably because a lot of y'all use Chat GPT like Google. I'm guilty of it sometimes too, but not all like that. Chat GPT is not the keeper of your secrets. I'm telling you this firsthand. Chat GPT is a large language model, which means that everything you put into it, it is going to use to answer or analyze something else from not only you, but somebody else. Okay? So just because you put something in the Chat GPT is not a closed system. It's not your Chat GPT. It's not just you. It's a repository of what everybody else puts into it and all the research points that it has and all of the information that's available online, and it's giving it back to you. Okay? I know that's hard to hear, but don't put your good ideas into Chat GPT. You wouldn't have did it 5 years ago, so don't do it now. Okay? But you do want to understand if there's a market. You do want to understand if there's competition, and you do want to understand if you're going to have a duplicate. Number 3, this is probably the most important part of idea generation. This is probably the part where most people get their hopes and dreams crushed because they can't answer this question. And I'm telling you, if you can't answer this question, it's not the end of the world. You should need to go back to the drawing board. And it's nothing you never heard me say before. But you need to ask yourself one simple question that has 2 parts. What problem does this product or service or business idea solve? And who does it solve it for? That is extremely important. Because without a problem to solve, you don't have a product. You have a hobby. Without a problem to solve, you have something fun to do, but you don't actually have anything that the marketplace can leverage. Okay, so you really have to determine, am I actually solving a problem? Does this business, does this product, does this invention, does it solve a problem? Does it solve a problem that you created? Right? And listen, if you're creative enough to create a problem to then solve it, that's excellent. If you're also creative enough to expose a problem in society that we didn't think was a problem, but now you've told us it was a problem and you've given us a product to solve that problem, that's genius level. Okay? You have to be able to answer that question. What problem does this solve, and who specifically has this problem? Because people that have problems that need to be solved are the ones that will separate from their money to solve their problems. If you can't answer those questions, you don't have a business idea. I'm just telling you that right now. If you can't answer those questions, you don't have anything that's marketable today. You probably have a hobby, and that's okay. You just need to be able to classify that correctly in your life. You know what I'm saying? It's just a hobby. Everything doesn't turn into a business. Speaking of number 4 of what to do when you think you have a business idea. Number 4, you have to ask yourself, did I just generate an idea or a thought for a business, or did I generate an idea or a thought for a company? And I know you're probably like, what is he saying? Well, that's 2 different paths. Right? And as I'm thinking about this, as I'm writing my notes for today's show, a business creates income. Right? Like a business, the sole purpose of the business is to create income. You can create a business based on a specific service, a group of services, a specific product, a group of products, a specific talent, a group of talents. That's a business. A company is more about systems, teams, and scale. Right? So I'll give you an example. Pixel Audio Video started off as a business. It started off as two guys with $200 that we put into a business account, 100 each. We had a trunk full of tool bags and toolboxes, and we went out and we hung TVs and we wired houses and we made some money. We went on some vacations. We went on some dates. It was awesome. That was the business, right? Pixel Audio Video today, in the direction where we're going with the company right now, it is a company, right? Now it's about systems. Now it's about processes. Now it's about the team. Now it's about scaling. Now it's about diversifying our product offerings. It's getting into some other markets. It's reinvesting into the community. It's bringing up the next generation of custom integrators, right? Now it's a company. So when you thought of your idea or your invention or your product or your service, was it a business or was it a company? Because that's going to determine the path that you go, right? A business, hey, can be based around you. They call those lifestyle businesses. It's based around you. It's based around your talent. It's based around what you can do. Typically, if you're not there, nothing's happening. Nobody's making any money. Whereas the goal of a company is to be a machine. It's to be something that is moving regardless of who is at the helm, something that is moving, that is generating sales, regardless of who is, screwing the thing or drilling the thing or running the cable. Like, it's a company. It's a machine. And we have to determine which direction our thoughts and ideas are going to take us, which leads me to number 5, because this is the one that's going to shut you up, shut you down, or take you to the next level. This is the one you got to be honest about yourself, right? This is the one where you got to put rubber to the road. This is when we start talking about execution. First step in execution is coming to terms with what you're actually willing to sacrifice. Number 5 of what to do when you think you have a business idea is you had to ask yourself this all important question. What level of sacrifice am I actually willing to make to see this thing through? Right? What level of sacrifice are you actually willing to make for your idea, for your dream, for your goal to become a reality? And this is when I say you got to be honest with yourself, because ideas are not free, right? Ideas cost, man. It costs. If you want an idea to turn into anything, it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you comfort. It's going to cost you energy. It's going to cost you all kinds of things that you may not even be aware that you have. Right? Ideas are not free. Ideas cost. If you want to execute on an idea, it's going to cost you something. Ambition sounds exciting. Don't get me wrong. Ambition sounds exciting. When you're telling everybody about your idea, you're telling everybody about your product and your invention, rah, 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 yes, yes, yes. Sacrifice makes it real. Sacrifice takes the sexy out of it, right? Notice what I didn't tell you to do. I didn't tell you when you have an idea, when you have a thought, when you have a business that you're thinking about, bringing to fruition. I didn't tell you to go make a website. I didn't tell you to go find a logo. I didn't tell you to do a business plan. I didn't tell you to go get t-shirts printed. I didn't tell you to order samples. I didn't tell you to go to Home Depot and buy 2x4s and start to build a prototype. I didn't say any of that. I'm still dealing with the brain. I'm still dealing with the mindset. Before you execute on anything, you need to go through this process. Because when you get to number 5 and you start to ask yourself, what level of sacrifice am I actually willing to make? Hey, if you say it was just a good idea, I had a good night, had a good evening, I was just sitting back watching TV and I said, hey, I think that'd be a good business idea, but I'm not really serious on executing about it. I'm going to save you some money. I'm going to save you some time. I'm going to save you some energy. I'm going to save you some comfort. If you're not willing to sacrifice for your idea to become reality, then don't start the process because you're going to waste. Again, I know that sounds harsh, but that's the reality of the situation. You got to be honest. You got to be honest. What am I actually willing to give up to build this? Right? Because building is not free. But until you're in that process, you really don't know what's required. So you got to be down. And the only way you can be down is if you up front, you like, you know what? I'm willing to see this to the end. I'm willing to see this to the ends of the earth. I'm willing to sacrifice. Right? That's the difference between an idea and a business, or an idea and a company. Right? It's that sacrifice. And it's not just for me to just sound, what are you willing to give up in order to get, to achieve your dreams? Nah, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Because you can also give me an answer there and it sound great, and you can still waste a lot of money and a lot of time trying to execute on something that don't have any business being executed on. I need you to be real and honest with yourself. Right? So I'm going to let you marinate on those 5 points real quick. We're going to hear from Crown Kids, which is a product, a business, and a company all at the same time. And then we'll come back. We'll do our extra credit. And we'll see where we end up.
Knox Nation, quick question. When was the last time you got a break and your kids got their hair done right? That's what we help you do at Crown Kids Healthy Hair Care Salon. Clean parts, healthy hair routines, and a team that knows how to keep kids calm, comfortable, and confident. Yes, we even help our sensory sensitive kiddos. We are located inside of Liberty Mall, just north of Cincinnati, Ohio. Book your next hair appointment, hair party, or group class with Crown Kids, and let's keep those crowns looking right. For more information, just visit us at crownkidshair.com. Again, that's crownkidshair.com.
All right, class is in session. We are back. Let's deal with this extra credit. But before we do that, let's run through the 5 real quick. Let's do a quick pass and review. 5 steps, 5 things to do when you think you have a business idea. Number 1, shut up. Don't go telling everybody. Keep it to yourself until you really work it out in the dark. Number 2, see if someone else has already thought of it, right? If they have, great. Make sure you're not about to copy them. But that also tells you that there's a market for what you're trying to do. If they haven't, even better. But now you really have to understand, which is number 3, what problem are you solving and who are you solving it for? Because now you have to take your original thought and you have to put some legs behind it when it comes to market demand. Number 4, is this a business or is it a company? That's going to determine your path. If it's a company, first thing I would tell you to do is find some like-minded individuals and figure out what a partnership looks like, because you cannot do this alone. You probably shouldn't do it alone. It's going to take you on a path that's going to require probably, most likely, a lot more bandwidth than you currently have, right? So you need to get some experts in your corner. Number 5, what level of sacrifice are you willing to make? Again, that question will make or break. That question will either set you up or shut you up pretty fast. If you're not about that life, if you're not ready to make sacrifices, no big deal. Go back to the drawing board. If you are, now you got to put rubber to the road because it's execution time. So let's get into this extra credit. And remember, School of HardKnox, extra credit is not about just doing extra work. Extra credit is doing a little bit more so that you can get a little bit more. Extra credit is doing the things that everybody is not willing to do so that you can go and do the things that not everybody can do. I got this saying that when you can do what I do, then you can do what I can do. When you can do what I do, then you can do what I do, you'll get that eventually. The affirmation for our extra credit this week is simple. It's based on building. It's based on the ideas. The affirmation goes like this. I evaluate ideas with discipline, clarity, and honesty before I pursue them. That's the affirmation. I evaluate ideas with discipline, clarity, and honesty before I pursue them. Our scripture, Luke 14:28. This is a part of a sermon that Jesus was preaching when he was giving this example. He says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? He basically telling you, if you don't sit down and plan and make sure that you have everything that you need to see a process through, you're not being a good steward, right? You're not being a good steward with the resources, but you're also not being a good steward with the thoughts and ideas that the Lord has given you. Luke 14:28, one more time. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? First. Plan first. Plan first, then react. I'm telling you right now, your assignment for extra credit is very simple. You probably already understand where I'm going with this. But the way we do this is I want you to take 10 to 15 minutes with an actual pen and an actual piece of paper, not ChatGPT, not the notes app on your phone. I want you to actually write so that you can really feel what you're thinking, because I want that to go on the paper. I want it to go on the paper. I want it to go through your brain, through your arm, through your hand, your fingers, the pen, and I want you to put it on the paper. It's something about the tactileness of writing that holds us accountable. When we write things down, it holds us accountable. I can't explain it. I don't even know how this happens, but I think you know what I'm saying. I want you to answer these 5 questions honestly. You write down the last business idea that you had. So at the top of the page, you write down the last business idea that you had, the last big thing you came up with. Now, this is still a secret, but you write it down, and then you answer these 5 questions. Number 1, did I talk about it too early? Did I spill the beans too soon? Did I not let it marinate long enough? Number 2, who is already doing this successfully? Now you see where we're going. Who's already doing this successfully? Number 3, what problem does it solve and for who? Number 4, is this a business or a scalable company? Is it for me or is it for us? Is it for me or is it for us? Number 5, what sacrifice am I actually willing to make? How far are you willing to go to see this thing through? How far? And I'm not just talking about draining your bank account and eating ramen noodles. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the time, the energy, the comfort, right? I'm talking about the whole picture. It's going to be areas of your life that you're going to make sacrifices that you didn't even know you had it to sacrifice. Been there, am there, currently, presently. I know what I'm talking about. What sacrifices am I actually willing to make? How far are you willing to go? That's the extra credit for this week. That's the episode for this week. Listen, the School of HardKnox exists to challenge you. The School of HardKnox exists to open up your mind, open up your brain so that them thoughts and ideas can come out. The first place they need to come out is on a notepad and a piece of paper that you keep real close to the chest. Real close to the chest. Protect your ideas. Protect your thoughts. Don't share them with ChatGPT just yet. Don't share them with Alexa just yet. Don't share them with your iPhone or your Apple Watch just yet. Just keep it real close. Jot down the notes. Do a mind map, right? Get to a place where you really work this thing out. Just you, the pen, and the pad. It's your idea. you should be able to hash it out without ChatGPT. Now, if you want to use ChatGPT further along in the process, when you're actually executing at that point, I'm hoping your idea is already protected. I'm hoping your idea is already in motion, right? But I'm real big on that. I'm real big on protecting your ideas. You have to protect your ideas, because at the end of the day, you don't have too much else when it comes to business. It's just those original thoughts. That's what separates us from being a machine and being an AI, is we can keep on coming up with ideas. Do you realize the amount of operating power? Do you realize the amount of computing power that you have in your brain? Do you realize that they build dozens upon dozens upon dozens of data centers with thousands of servers and processors inside of each data center that still does not equal the computing power that you have in one side of your brain? I know ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and all of the other LLMs, large language models. I know that they help us polish some things. I do, and it works, and we use them, and I use them, and we good. But when it comes to idea generation, the human brain is undefeated. Undefeated. But we got to actually do it. We got to do it. We can't surrender to the AI. We can't do it. We can't surrender. We can't just be like, oh, this is my idea, build it out. Nah. Because whatever it tells you, it's going to tell 10 other people. It's going to tell 5,000 other people when they have an idea. We'll talk about that again in a couple of weeks. I gotta work that whole piece out, because I don't want y'all to turn on me because y'all think I'm some type of like AI hater type dude. I'm getting there though. As much as I appreciate AI, like for helping me even do stuff like show notes and things like that, man. You ever type a prompt in the Chat GPT and they give you back some garbage, and in your mind you like, man, I could have thought of that. I was hoping you was gonna help me come up with a revolutionary thought. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I hope I'm not getting dumber based on using AI. I hope I'm not, man. I gotta stop. Anyway, listen, this has been the School of HardKnox podcast. Don't use AI for your extra credit assignment or it won't count. I appreciate you guys for listening. Have a great week. I'll see y'all next week. Class is dismissed. Thank you for listening to the School of HardKnox podcast. You can find our archives as well as new episodes by subscribing on Apple Podcast. Questions or concerns or feedback about the show? Message me directly on Instagram at the School of HardKnox. That's KNOX. Thank you for listening. See you next week.